The Axoon Cineview M7 does what no camera monitor has done before. It can play Doom. So if your easily distracted, Instagram-addicted brain is bored filming a wedding, this is what you need to keep you entertained and also give you a very high-quality preview of what you're filming. Let's be semi-serious here for a moment. I've been using an external monitor for many years now to film YouTube videos because, let's be honest, even if your camera has a flip-out screen, if you're more than a few feet away, especially if you have a teleprompter in front of you, it's basically impossible to see that camera screen, leading to you needing to use an external monitor. And up until this point, I've been using a SmallHD Focus 7 monitor that came out way back in 2019, and while it's been decent in that it shows me what I'm looking at, and it has scopes and LUTs, it's also kind of frozen in time, and it doesn't look like it's getting any future firmware updates, and is that really surprising? It had a good run, but I'm sure the processor inside's getting pretty old. So I've been looking around for a new monitor, and then Axoon reached out to me about testing their new Cineview M7 and M7 Pro monitors, a set of monitors that do things that no other camera monitors have been able to do before, all thanks to a really obvious solution that I think is going to be copied by basically every other monitor manufacturer in the industry moving forward. Big claim, I know, but in this video sponsored by Axoon, I'm going to be showcasing these monitors and telling you why I think they're going to completely shake up the external camera monitor industry. Also, because I want to help you out even more, I will link to my Filmmaker Gear Guide down in the video description. If you want to download it completely for free, it will show you all the equipment that I recommend you purchase for filmmaking. Now, let's talk about the M7 and M7 Pro. And for clarity, for the sake of the examples, I'm going to be using the M7 because, spoiler, both of these monitors have the exact same feature set, with the only difference being the M7 Pro also supports wireless video transmission using Axoon's wireless Cineview system. Notice these antennas here. It's super cool, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Grabbing the M7 here, then you're probably wondering what I was talking about whenever I said that these monitors can do things that no other monitor has been able to do before. And more importantly, how the heck can these monitors run Doom? Well, it's a really obvious solution that I'm frankly shocked we haven't seen other monitor manufacturers do yet. And the simple answer is, it runs Android. Yes, a customized version of Android, but if you have an Android phone or Android tablet, it's the same underlying operating system, which is so ubiquitous and widely supported that I'm honestly shocked that this hasn't been done before. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, that's it, Matt? Come on, there have been tons of apps out there that you can use to plug your Android phone into your camera and use as a monitor. So what makes the M7 so good? And I will agree with you, so many people own Android phones, and I used to. I had a Galaxy Note. It was the bomb, literally. But it's the overall package that Axoon has put this operating system into and how they customized it that make it so powerful. To start, unlike a phone, which is normally an ultra-thin piece of glass sandwich with some aluminum or titanium wrapped around it, this monitor has a really rugged aluminum metal frame design. And while I wouldn't recommend dropping it, if you did, or you bang it into other camera gear like you probably will on a film set, it's going to hold up to abuse much better than a phone would. You also get mounting points all over the sides of this monitor that really make it more like a camera cage for the monitor than just a frame. But if you want even more protection, you should know they actually sell a cage for this monitor as well that adds even more protection and mounting points, as well as support for a shaded hood, which would be really helpful on bright days. But you should know, this screen is really bright. This is a color calibrated from the factory screen. It comes with a calibration sheet here by Calman. It is 1080p Full HD with 1000 nits of brightness, meaning that you can view it easily in daylight, and it fully covers the Rec. 709 color space with a delta E value of less than 2, which means that the colors you see on this monitor are extremely accurate. More accurate than my old monitor for sure. In short, you're going to be able to trust that the colors that you see on this monitor are going to be the same colors that you're going to see on your monitor when editing your video, and that's really important. Plus, it supports color calibration LUTs if you want to dial it in even more, and you can even use the Gamma mapping engine to adjust it between 2.0 and 2.6, giving you the exact preview you want for a professional workflow. It's extremely rare for an external camera monitor to give you this much control over your colors, and I love it. Basically, this ain't my Galaxy Note screen from years ago that turned green and died one summer out of nowhere. Speaking of dying, you may be wondering if this monitor is going to die in the heat because it has a ton of features and capabilities that we're going to talk about soon, plus this large screen that sounds like a recipe for overheating. Thankfully, unlike most Android phones, unless you opt for one of those really extreme gaming options, the M7 comes with a fan inside to keep it cool. And, well, more importantly, you can control this fan in the software, cranking it up to full speed on a hot day or turning it off completely if you're filming on a very quiet set where you need absolute silence. In this case, I have it on, but what is it set to here? Like 50% or so? There's my mic up there. It's pretty quiet. It's great. And you can also just turn it off completely if you want to. Just go in here, turn it down. Completely silent now. Look up top now, and you're going to see you have this array of physical buttons at the top of the monitor. And of course, it's a touchscreen, so you don't have to use those if you don't want to, but I love that you have some of the most important controls up here at the top that have this really soft rubber texture that's easy to press. 3 of these buttons can be customized to do whatever you want, and there's also a nice list of presets to choose from, like pull-up scopes, etc. You have a ton of versatility there. The other 2 buttons are fairly obvious. One is power, and the other, keeping in mind that this is an Android tablet at heart, is a home button that will bring you back to the launcher for the monitor. Pretty cool. Moving around to the back now, you have gobs of inputs, outputs, and power options. The M7 can be powered by dual Sony NP-F batteries, which are extremely popular. I have so many of them laying around. Or you can also use 65-watt USB-C power delivery, which, let me say, love that you have options. Keep in mind too that you can use 2 batteries for essentially double the battery life and hot swapping. So you can change one while the other's still running. Keep in mind though that because this monitor has a fan, the battery life is going to be variable depending on how much that fan is running. Back to the back of this monitor now. Other than the batteries, you also have another USB-C connection that is a power output that is 5 volts. So if you need to charge an accessory or something like that, you can. You also have an SDI output and an SDI input. And if you look at the left side of this monitor, you'll see you also have an HDMI input and an HDMI output too, which I have to say, I love that this monitor has multiple video inputs and outputs like this. And you should know that this monitor is capable of performing SDI to HDMI cross conversion, giving you a lot of flexibility with your camera outputs and even allowing you to daisy chain a video signal from your camera to this monitor to multiple other monitors as well at the same time. I still remember back in the day when you had to choose whether you wanted a monitor that was HDMI or SDI, so look at us now. We're living in the future here. This thing can do both. Oh, and it also supports 4K to 1080p up and down conversion, so regardless of the signal you're sending, it's going to show it. In addition, I want you to notice there are also 2 3.5 millimeter jacks on this monitor, one of which is a headphone jack that can be used to monitor audio, but the other is a microphone jack to record audio directly into the monitor. Record audio, Matt? Hold on, how is this monitor recording things? I thought this monitor was just a monitor. Well, it's not. And I'm honestly surprised this feature isn't quite as prominent in the marketing because it's so great. The M7 and M7 Pro work as a recorder as well. If you look over on the right side of the monitor, you're going to find an SD card slot, as well as another USB Type-C port that you can plug either a USB drive or SSD into, and you can then record the video that's being sent to this monitor in H.264 or H.265. To be clear, this is not a raw video recording monitor, but it can record video in 4K at up to 60 frames per second at up to 50 megabits per second, which, to be clear, is not a super high rate. But if you're wanting to record backup videos just in case you have a memory card failure, or you want to record proxies that you could more easily edit, or maybe you want to record log in your camera while you burn a LUT into the footage that's recorded with the monitor, you can also do that with this monitor. It makes it so useful. Talking more about the interface for how you do this. If you've ever used an Android smartphone, the M7 is going to feel very familiar to you, and that's a great thing. Android's a very robust operating system at this point, and Accsoon has chosen to build all of their technology on top of that, which makes a lot of sense. All of the monitor interface and tools are essentially an Android app. Not bad. That means that if there are updates or new features, this monitor is going to be super easy to update. But at the same time, I don't know exactly what I would want them to add to this monitor app, because it's really full featured already. You have camera controls for Sony cameras, which you can use to start and stop recording and change settings like ISO and white balance, plus a ton of tools that work with any camera, including everything that you would expect with a professional monitor. Histograms, false color, zebras, waveforms, vector scope, frame guides. This is all available and can be toggled very quickly using the touchscreen at the bottom and then dragged around the screen to resize. But I feel like I have to keep reminding you, as well as myself when I was starting to use this monitor, that it's still, at its core, an Android tablet, meaning that it supports Android apps. If there's another video or photo Android app that you wanted to use, you can try installing it on this monitor. You just copy it to the SD card, pop it in, and install the APK. Not to mention, we haven't even touched on Wi-Fi yet. Of course, it has Wi-Fi built in. It's an Android tablet, which means that it supports camera to cloud uploads and live streaming with no computer required. You just enter your info and go live. I feel like there's so many things that you can do with this monitor that I can't even necessarily cover in this video because it has this app installation ability that makes it really super versatile. And then you have the Accsoon M7 Pro, the wirelessly transmitting version of this monitor. That has all the same features we've just covered with the M7, plus the addition of these very robust wireless transmission antenna on the back that enable this monitor to work with all of Accsoon's other Cineview wireless transmission systems, giving you long-range wireless dual-band video monitoring and up to DCI 4K at 60 FPS. And setting this up is really easy. You just connect the wireless transmitter to your camera, and that will then send your video signal to the M7 Pro monitor, and Accsoon says it has 60 milliseconds of latency, and in my testing, that feels pretty darn accurate. It is very low latency, and there's a firmware update coming in September that's going to let you transmit from the M7 Pro monitor wirelessly to another monitor, which is really cool. In addition, Accsoon says that this monitor has 350 meters of transmission range, and whenever I set up my camera in my studio, then I went outside and started walking down the street with a couple walls between me and the transmitter, the monitor still worked great. So this really feels like a very robust wireless monitoring system, and I love that Accsoon gives you the versatility to, if you want to use it like that, by buying the M7 Pro, or giving the option to save money and get the M7 instead if you don't want the wireless monitoring option. And that brings us to talking about the price. At the time of recording this video, the M7 is selling for $799, while the M7 Pro is $899, which I have to say is definitely a healthy chunk of change. But considering all of the features and capabilities that they have incorporated into this monitor, multiple power options, SDI and HDMI inputs, super bright 1000 nit screen, a fan for cooling, recording to SD and SSD, all the tools that you would expect from a wireless monitor, plus building it all into the Android operating system, which makes so much sense. Not to mention, most importantly, it can run Doom. The Accsoon M7 and M7 Pro are stellar monitors that I think you're going to be happy with for many years to come. Remember, you can download that Filmmaker Gear Guide in the video description. It's free. Please like this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos about filmmaking tech like this in the future. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.